I don't know if the glasses are going to work today. Maybe not. But hi. Hello, everyone. I'm going to change the lighting just a bit. I feel like it's a bit bright. That's a bit better. I hope everyone is doing well today. I have my microphone here. And I'm going to back up from the mic so that my sound is good. I'm a little early, y'all. I'm proud of myself. I am a bit early. So let me just touch up my hair a bit. I have some scissors, but I think I'll be okay without. How is everyone? I hope everyone's doing well. I'm very excited about today's show because I really want to chit chat about, oh, that looks so nice. I wish I can get in the middle here. Yeah, let me see if I'm in the middle here. That looks cute. Anyway, no, because my pillows might be makeup stained. Anyway, I wanted to chit chat today with my girls and guys, whoever decides to come on. I wanted to chit chat about your goals, your dreams, your aspirations, what part of your life prevents you from honestly what part of your life is preventing you from really going after the things that you want and the goals that you have. So I would love to get into that. Before we do, I want to see how changing the lighting may help a bit. No. Okay. Either way. So let's talk about it. First, let's run the intro. Oh, I need to tell you, I have been wearing this hair. I'll just scratch my ear. I have been wearing this hair everywhere, and I am low-key obsessed with it. So I'm going to do the brown tips, see if I like it, because this one, phenomenal. 8 down. Anyway, okay. Let's run the intro, and then we'll be right back. If you're here, you can fast forward. We'll get to chatting about things in a bit. Yeah, Drake was patting you on the back. All the rappers. Hey, what's up? Back again. Hey, what's up? It's up to you to do the research. It's up to you. So I was watching something today, and I started to think about myself, my family, the women in my family. And what really stood out to me is how many of our parents, our grandparents, the matriarchs of our family died working. They didn't retire into abundance. They didn't retire into a fulfillment of their goals or their desires or whatever they aspire to as young adults. And that really sparked something in me that feels almost fearful. So I wanted to talk with you all today about what are your goals, what are your dreams, and what are you prepared to leave this earth without accomplishing. And I'm not saying this to make you fearful. I am actually saying this to, let me scoot down just a bit. I hope that people can understand that. I don't want to move the whole camera. Sorry, y'all. I should have been ready. Hi. I'm not saying this to make people fearful. I'm saying it because we've all, as a community, wherever you're from, being Black people, we've seen our matriarchs, our grandparents, the women that raised us. I'm 40 something years old. A lot of my friends, cousins my age, have had family members, their mothers, their grandmothers have passed on. Mine as well. My grandmothers have passed on. Did they retire? Did they live any part of their life truly being themselves, truly loving their life? And I think so much of what we expect for women is to be moms and to be very happy with that. You're a mom, your children love you, you've done an amazing job raising them, and that is the end. But when you, I'm sorry, I'm gonna get this straight. And so many of us have been taught, let me turn this off. Many of us have been taught that this is, many of us have been taught that this is the goal, right? The goal is, as a woman, you have children, be it planned or unplanned. You have children, you raise them, you be the best parent that you can be, and that's everything. You've accomplished so much as a mom. And have you? Have you? Because for me, of course, child aside, there is an obligation there. And that obligation does not feel fulfilling as my overall life goal and accomplishments. Now, my overall life goal and accomplishments, of course, is to be someone that can leave my child something of value so she can have a life that feels more freeing than many of us have lived. I want my child to have a life that feels like, oh, I can travel, I can do this. I'm not stuck to this desk or this laptop or this corporation for survival. And that's the part to me that I really want for me and my community of Black women and Black people to be able to discuss. Like, do you feel you'll leave this earth? And will you be satisfied with never pursuing your dreams if you're completely tied to whatever it is that keeps you surviving? And although I watched a woman yesterday and she said she has community, she has family, her children have their other parents, and she has 5 streams of income. 5. And the fact was, she still felt overwhelmed. She still felt overwhelmed as a mother, even though she had multiple streams of income, community of support around her, and co-parenting for all of her children. She still felt overwhelmed. I watched another creator yesterday who said, does anyone else feel exhaustion? Like, no matter how much you sleep, how much you lay on the couch, how much you rest, do you feel like this perpetual level of exhaustion? And I was like, that's possible because I am too. I don't eat bad. I eat my protein. I eat grilled vegetables. I eat like Greek yogurt. I have fruit in the morning. I have a cup of coffee, which is probably the worst thing I eat in a day. The coffee, the caffeine is probably the worst thing I eat in a day. I test my blood sugar. I take multivitamins. I am not as active as I could be, but I'm active in some sort. I'm not old. I'm not under a lot of stress, but I still feel tired. And I think that is not physical. Because honestly, there's nothing that I would be able to point it to aside from, I'm overweight, but what Black person isn't considered overweight. For the most part, we are the outliers of that scale. But aside from that, do you feel this perpetual exhaustion? I felt like that is absolutely spiritual. It is not based on you being exhausted, you overexerting yourself. I mean, does anybody else feel that way? I see that there are some people here. I would love for you to chime in if you're watching. I'll also, let me put the link in so you all can hop in the comments or come up if you want to discuss it. The link is there. It is pinned in the comment section. I know sometimes you guys want to come up. Please feel free to come up and discuss this with me, because I think we have entered a spiritual realm that we're not supposed to be in. It almost feels as if you're on the cusp of a breakthrough. And I feel as a society, are we on the cusp of a breakthrough that looks like you either make it out or you don't? And it scares me, because if so many of us if we're all on the cusp of a did or didn't, then is it possible that we're going to end up like the matriarchs of our family, in that you didn't live life? My mother's first trip on an airplane, or my mother's first trip as a vacation, was because of me as an adult. And she's an educated woman with a master's degree who worked most of her adult life before I was born and after I was born, and had never the idea of being selfish without the negative. Hey, Conceited, thank you so much for joining. Thank you. Without the negative connotation of selfish. Was never doing anything for herself that was rewarding. So many of us operate in this hustle culture, this hustle mentality. And I'll tell you something that I had a thought about that kind of relates to what I'm saying now about this hustle culture, is that I was watching Conceited. I don't know if if you know who B. Simone is, but B. Simone is a popular Instagram comedian. She rose to fame on Instagram, her skits and her funny videos and hot takes. She then moved on to, I believe she had a couple seasons on Nick Cannon's Wild 'N Out. Then she became very popular on some of those panels like Tonight's Conversation. Then she started her own podcast. So her success now is through her podcast. I agree. Yes. So I wanted to talk about B. Simone because, as you say, it's nothing wrong with the hustle. It's the grind that wears you out. And maybe that's where I'm mixing the words up. Because to me, B. Simone had a recent podcast that went viral. Some clips from that podcast were that she was not able to support one of her best friends, as her friend was on the brink of homelessness. Her friend has children and her car was repossessed and she didn't have income. And it was surprising to people that B. Simone was her best friend, and yet she was not able to kind of rescue her friend from this poverty-stricken existence for some time. I don't know how long it lasted and if it's still going on for her friend, but people were surprised. And I said to me, and I'm not a person, I don't brag, but I've been around people with affluence and money. I used to work for a private doctor's group. I used to date a very successful man from that group. I have a history of dating very successful people. And what I notice is that people who truly have it like that. They prioritize rest. People who truly can live a life of leisure look like it. But to me, a person like B. Simone, a person like Jess Hilarious, a person like I don't even know who else to compare it to. But like say, oh my God, a person like Kiki, and you say that's where you are in your life right now. A person like Kiki, is it Kiki Shepherd? Kiki Shepherd. It's not Kiki White. Kiki White is the singer. Okay, Kiki Shepherd. These people, you see them all the time. And it resonates with me because the people that I see doing this all the time are the young Black women. They stand out to me because the grind to me doesn't look like what wealth looks like. That type of hustle doesn't look like somebody that can bail out their friends, somebody that can put their friends on or in position. That looks like trying to make ends meet to me. I know a man I was dating, maybe currently dating. I don't know if I'm dating him right now. I was dating a man, and every night he would invite me to like a nice upscale restaurant. Every night. What are you doing? Come to, and then he had a membership to a networking kind of club downtown Chicago. And I wanted to join the club, and the club was like $500 a month. And I'm like, are people really paying $500 a month to just like, and he was like, yeah, it's not a thing. And I'm like, $500 a month for a networking club? So to me, the way he was able to he would always be like, hey, me and my guy, we're going to have some drinks. Why don't you meet? I want you to meet him. I'm like, you're always chilling. And to me, when I see people who are always hustling, always on a red carpet, and I don't mean doing premieres, I mean like the girls that are doing interviews for NBC, they're working the red carpet for a brand, they're always making a video, they're constantly promoting themselves on TikTok, they're constantly filming a podcast. That looks like work. That is work. That looks like a working person. That doesn't look like caviar and private jets to me. So for people to be surprised that B. Simone was like, I don't want to be in Bloomingdale shopping. We need to kind of go to H&M. That wasn't surprising. When B. Simone said, I don't want to, I couldn't help you because I'm penny pinching, for lack of a better word. She said she was nitpicking her finances. Yeah, B. Simone looks like somebody that is a working woman who needs to make ends meet. I don't get, oh, you need $100,000 to just pay off your car and find you somewhere for you and your kids to live. Here go $100,000. And she actually mentioned in the episode she doesn't have liquid money. A lot of these people, you'd be surprised, they don't have liquid money. They don't. They may have a high Amex limit or no limit. They may have a high Navy Federal limit. Yeah. And Conceded, let me read the comment you left before this. I had to realize that enough was enough. Oh, you preaching right there. Constant hustling to make sure I hit that unachievable mark. And most of the people that get into the celebrity status, I'm gonna tell you somebody else. And I'm gonna tell you somebody else who comes to mind when I think of these celebrities that are hustling, and it's no fault to them. I don't see an issue with it, but I do understand how money looks. I see what money looks like. And money to me doesn't look like I'm doing a new show on WeTV, I'm hosting the ESPN Awards, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. That looks like people equals, that to me looks like people who are, God bless them, obligated to 3, 4 families. You got your mom in her house, your brother in his household, your own household, and then probably your ex-wife or your kid's mom's household. That looks like people who need to work. When you see these celebrity net worths, but you see people like Kevin Hart constantly hustling, they don't have liquid money. They don't have liquid money. That's why somebody like, I hope my channel don't get weird. Somebody like Diddy, who told Cassie's mom he wanted $20,000 in cash to do X, Y, and Z, or he would release her tape or something like that. Diddy's $20,000 to me, I'm a 9-to-5 working person, is not a lot of money. $20,000 I can make on TikTok in a month, in 2 weeks if I really, really busted myself. $20,000 for somebody who we're calling a billionaire. These people don't have liquid money. These people are subjected to the same rules that we play by. The banks, the mortgage officers. Hey, Clever Girl Reading, I'm so happy you're here. So continue. Let me go back to your comments. All these athletes and entertainers doing these podcasts, it's basically work. I don't think they're as wealthy as they seem. Exactly. They're not. These people don't have the money that we've been told to believe they have. And you know what else made me realize that? Is that as you watch these influencers, these girls that go on brand trips, they have the same like bags and cars and homes and views from their penthouse as celebrities. And I'm like, these girls are hustling. These girls are working. Even though they look like they're, they make their own schedule, but these girls work. Money isn't real. Oh no, the mic is going in and out. Let me move it back again. Oh, I hate when the mic does that. Thank you, Clever Girl Reading, for telling me that the mic is going in and out. I'm hoping it gets better. I'm going to try to move it one more time. I got to learn this mic. I don't know why I can't get it together. But I was basically saying, thank you so much for everybody's comments. I was basically saying what we aspire to or what we see now is such a facade that we have also tied what we think luxury is or what we think the American dream is, that American dream. What do we think that is? It's definitely not. I feel blessed to have a job. I know people who are out of work based on administration changes, economic changes, whatever. I'm blessed to have a job. And I'm not at the position in my life where I'm like, I need to go for more money. Because so many people put themselves out of situations based on chasing something, like Conceited said, this unachievable mark. A bad bill of goods we were sold. Yeah, it's absolutely. We were convinced that there is, Clever Girl Reading says, howdy. We were convinced that there is this number. And I'm somebody that has had the ability to make a ton of money on social media. I bought my dream car. And what I will tell you is that every time you get there, if you're not mentally prepared for where you really want your life to be, every mark you hit, every goal you achieve feels like nothing happened. My luxury car sits in my garage and I don't like it. My fantasy dream car sits in my garage and I'm like, oh no, that wasn't it. That didn't give me the feeling that I thought it would give me. Clever Girl Reading says, when are our men going to learn how to play chess though? When are men going to learn to play chess? So, Clever Girl Reading, give me some more context on what you mean about this. Because I really just want to, yeah, I don't want to respond without knowing the context that you're thinking about. Can I explain what having my luxury car meant? Yeah, well, I think that I thought that it would make me feel away, but it didn't. I thought there's a system of how things are supposed to be done. Why won't they learn how to play the system? That's too broad and can go many ways. Okay, so Conceited and Clever Girl Reading, I agree. They won't learn to play the system. I think and I don't want to give them an out, but I don't want to blame them. Oh, okay. I don't want to blame them, but I think that there is a lot of deep programming we all need to do as a society. And that's why today's conversation was really about what are the goals you're willing to let go of, and what are you willing to do if you want to accomplish them. There has to be a sacrifice. I woke up this morning. And I got up and I got ready for work, and I sat at my desk and I did 8-9 hours of work, however long I'm there, 9 hours of work. Will you put that same dedication? And maybe it's not exactly time, but there's a discipline to getting up and every day going to work. Will you put that same level of dedication into whatever it is that you want to accomplish? Because I know I don't. I know that I tell you all, I'm going to be here at 5 o'clock, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 2 o'clock, Tuesday, Thursday, and you might get a half an episode a week if we do the math. Clever Girl Reading says, so there are tax laws. Why won't y'all learn the tax laws and how to operate within them and around them? Okay, Conceited. Oh, and Conceited has responded. Conceited says, Clever Girl, many women, especially our Black women, have had to be in charge so long, and it's difficult for some to relinquish some things, even if it'll make her life better. I think that that's an interesting concept, considering that I think most women, including Black women, will be easily, willingly led if they can trust the leader. So I think the root of it goes back to, is the leader disciplined enough, experienced enough, and has enough integrity to lead us in the direction that isn't self-serving, but serves our family and the community, right? I think that's a huge problem we have in our community, is that Black women, I think about Black women when you talk about, leading, because I'm a single mother now, being divorced. I think about being a divorced person, and I say to myself, how is it that people think that Black men are being held back from their children? I don't know any single mothers that hold their children back unless they cannot trust that child and that child's safety and well-being with that person. I would absolutely. Oh, Mackie's here. Hey, Mackie. Black men have betrayed our community since the beginning of time. Clever Girl Reading also says, I don't think Black women need to concede anything. We don't work well together right now. Black men as a whole need to prove themselves. I think Black men do need to have a separate conversation. And I think it needs to be a conversation with themselves only. And Mackie says, Conceited, he agrees with you. Lots of those entertainers and former pro athletes hope that social media royalties will help them to make it big. Their careers are precarious. And Conceited says, what's up, Mackie? Mackie, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And I think that so many of us are in this hustle culture that we have completely missed the mark on what truly should be the American dream. And that's the freedom to explore, the freedom to find your passions, the freedom to travel, the freedom to, well, just move about and be adventurous. There are so many Black women I know that just did not get the opportunity before they passed to Black women, Black men, to explore who they are. I'll tell you something, I'm going to be vulnerable in this moment. Why don't they provide safety for our communities, women and children? Why don't they create businesses that create jobs for Black people? I think there's a lot of self-serving that goes on, and a lot of conversations that Black men need to have with each other about, do they really want that? Because I saw a lot of posts floating around and a lot of stitches floating around TikTok about, if slavery only affected Black women, would Black men oppose it? And a lot of people were saying absolutely they would not oppose it. Let me see if I can pull it up, because I think that's a great conversation. I think that's a very interesting conversation about being self-centered and self-motivated, but not, I don't know. Not being, I don't know. Let's move on from this real quick. Hold on. I'm going to tell you something about myself that I also think happens in our community. What happens in our community is, I've grown up as a plus size woman. And because of that, I've grown up as a plus size woman. And because of that, I wanted to always, Clever Girl Reading says, why don't they build hospitals for us? Why don't they build schools to prevent the school to prison pipeline for Black males? I agree. You have a Dr. Umar who has been building a school for 20 years. Nobody knows where the money is. Supposedly he's living on the money. We don't know where that money is gone that Dr. Umar has collected from so many people for so long. I think that is really, really atrocious. And being that Dr. Umar is a leading Black figure, whether you take him serious or not, people recognize who he is, and he acts like a representative of Black men. And being that you're a deadbeat who steals money, allegedly, we don't know where the money is. Is there a savings that somebody can track? Is there a trust that somebody can track, or somebody overseas that we can see? Where have these donations gone? Yeah. Okay. Jalen Rose and LeBron have built schools. LeBron's school gets a bad rep. There have been a lot of unsavory reports about that school, unfortunately. Dr. Umar is supported by Black women. I have no idea why Black women support him. I agree. Deion Sanders once created a school in Dallas as well. I agree. Conceded. I don't think it's easy. But I think there are ways that don't have to be as grandiose as building a school. But I will tell you the perception that I've had on my own self, and as I talk about this conversation about Black women not being able to really be themselves and be who they are because we are stuck in this perpetual grind, I relate it to myself in that being a plus size woman, and dark, and just Black, right? So I don't have any of the luxuries that pretty privilege bring people. But what it has done to me is I've overperformed my entire life. And I don't even think there's a pretty privilege that goes along with being a Black woman. That might be a hot take. I don't know if Black women get pretty privilege in this life, because I see women who look like the pretty ones, like a B. Simone, who still has to work to prove herself. B. Simone has to work to prove herself. She has to overperform. She has to buy bags that she can't afford. She has to go on vacations that she clearly can't afford. Her friends are homeless. You have the girl who dated Blueface. I Krishan Rock's mother is Black. I think she identifies as a Black woman. This is a beautiful woman who doesn't have pretty privilege. You have a woman like, oh my God, I can't think of her name right now. I mean, I don't know. I don't even know if we have pretty privilege. Kanye was starting school in LA, but it's Kanye. Exactly. So I don't know if there is a pretty privilege. And Clever Girl Reading says she had pretty privilege when she was younger. However, you get hate from men and women. I agree. And Concita says Oprah built schools and hospitals in Africa. Oprah and those people are not leaders for me. They don't do anything positive that I would. Those girls were being brutalized in South Africa, allegedly. I did a video on that. It's a couple years old. I did a video on this channel. If you go back, you can look at what was going on at Oprah's school. Oprah's school should be shut down if it's not already. But as I was saying, Black women, we have this overperformance, right? And I don't know if pretty privilege happens in the Black community because, okay, you get access to a Diddy. What does that get you? You see what it gets you. You get access. And let me tell you something else I know from dating men who have been successful in their careers and in life, and being someone that was married to a quote unquote successful provider. What happens is these men in our community who have tons and tons and tons of money, or supposedly, they aren't generous. They aren't generous people. You don't find these men being generous to these women who have this quote unquote pretty privilege. So that's why I say it does, maybe it doesn't work in our community. Mackie says to Clever Girl Reading, we also need to take over school districts in order to improve the academic skills of our students. And we need more Black men to become classroom teachers. Black men only make up 2% now. Right. Pretty privilege for Black women mostly go to the IG models. And then what is the privilege? I would like to know if somebody could explain what that privilege is. You know what I mean? We've all worked with brands. We've all made money on social media. I don't see what the privilege is. You get to get in a section with men who may assault you at the end of the night. That's what I'm saying. Like, what is it? You get a bag from Diddy, but then you get a S worker who gets to urinate in your mouth later on in the evening. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know what the privilege is in our community, because there are privileged women that end up with, NFL players, and then they put them through the wall or they throw a TV at them. I just don't know, So that's what I'm saying. That's a whole nother conversation. This is conceded. We have to take a pause on that because honestly, this party that you're talking about was annihilated for the way that they treated Black women inside of the party, like Diddy level stuff, abuse and violence. I hope I'm deep enough into the time on this video to not get it flagged, but abuse and violence were rampant in the Black Panther Party. I dated out and I've been to and lived in other countries. So I know that I go over well in Japan, Australia, and America, but not in Korea and Jamaica unless it's the tourists. Clever Girl Reading, you're in the UK, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right, or am I wrong? I'm sorry if I'm wrong. Yes. Okay, so I would, if you are abroad, I'm sorry, but I was definitely speaking about in the African American community, that pretty privilege. I don't know that it exists because you have women that steal, like, oh, you're in Dallas. I'm sorry. I did see that earlier. I'm sorry. My brain froze. Yes. So yeah, it's really hard to gauge what is pretty privilege in our community, because if it's just access to better abusers or abusers with more money, it's kind of hard. Abuse, violence, cheating, all have been around since the beginning. Not that I'm condoning any of it. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't use the Black Panther Party as a measure of excellence anymore. I used to, of course, but now it's like, who do we look to? When you look at the powerful people, and all the powerful people that could be like really role models and really influential are the ones that are on trial now. And I'm not saying that doesn't have to do with the system, but what is excellence? Like, I don't think we know. I don't think we've seen it. Clever Girl Reading says when she first left home, she got marriage proposals when she was a teenager. Males didn't mind spending money on me and spoiling me. My husband still spoils me. I agree, no one is perfect, but I think there could be a show of excellence. And I think excellence could be measured different than perfection. And especially when you talk about a group versus a person. So I agree. No one is perfect. You get the benefit of the doubt when you're dealing with other people. That's true. That is true. Unless you're like a Meg the Stallion. Does Meg fall into pretty privilege? Does Cassie fall into pretty? I don't know. You know, we're dealing with such a different time now in which even the online makes everything different, I guess, because Meg doesn't get a benefit of the doubt. Cassie doesn't get a benefit of the doubt. Even though they're beautiful women, they still don't get that luxury. Yeah, so even the wonderful Dr. Huxtable became Pill. Yeah. Meg presents herself in a certain way. Exactly. And that lends to always having to be performative. Meg was fine until she turned down Drake and was in this DV situation and attacked by this guy. So you know what I mean? You can't. They are also looking for a perfect victim. They're looking for a perfect victim. Meg wasn't. Cassie wasn't. What's this girl? DDG and Haley. There isn't a perfect victim. So you don't think Black Panther Party has some spots of excellence? Yeah, we all do. We all have spots of excellence, of course. Yeah. I think there are people who can abuse vulnerable communities and still donate money to them. You know what I mean? So that's like, okay, then let's not even bring them up at all. Because if Oprah built a school, but the girls in the school are missing and being abused, then let's not bring up Oprah at all. You know what I mean? So that's kind of I think the good can cancel out the bad, and the bad can cancel out the good. Plus, add in her lyrics. Yeah, but I don't think that's a reason to, and that is the problem. Me and you may differ on this. Her lyrics and the way she presents herself takes her away from pretty privilege. She was with a dude that DV her. He is a certain kind of dude. I don't think that matters. I don't think you can tell women to choose better if your friend or the guy you're dating is performing as one person. And then when things get hot or heated, then you see this character, this other person come up. I don't know if I'm agreeing with the fact that it shouldn't matter. It does matter. Yes, you're right. It does matter, but it shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter. That's like saying a woman shouldn't have wore a certain type of outfit if she's attacked in an alley. You know what I mean? So you can't say or her lyrics, the way she presents herself, the way she dresses, so she's not a victim. I don't think that's fair. You can't say, oh, the guy was right to attack this woman because she kept going back to him. The attack is still wrong. You don't. I think that's what I'm trying to convey to you is that pretty privilege doesn't get you that. That pretty privilege will still have you like a Cassie. That pretty privilege will have you still like Daphne Joy, 50 Cent's baby mama. You get access to richer abusers. That's what I'm saying. There is no perfect victim. So you wanting, I know you do because not because you're a man, but it does align with male centered rules of who gets to be a victim and who gets to be believed. But if the society right now is believing no one, it doesn't get you that way with everyone. But overall, you get treated than an OF model. But where, right? I think you have a choice. Forced or not, if I come back to a man and he blacks my eye in the hallway, me coming back doesn't make me not a victim. No, absolutely not, viewer. It's everybody's chat. Conceited and Mackie are men. Clever Girl Reading and I, of course, are women. But no, you can add whatever you think in the chat, please. We might be having different conversations. Right. I agree. So I think the whole conversation today was supposed to be about the overperforming that we see Black women do, and does that overperforming get you somewhere in your life? As the Black community sees the older people in our family that never got to live out their dreams, that died without living their lives, that died their last days of life or working, and how does that fare when, I'm sorry, y'all. How does that fare for how we want to live our lives today? Okay, I'm back. How do we want to live our lives today if we're perpetually in this cycle of the American dream? That is work, retire, and then maybe work a little part-time or hustle to get more money. You're a victim of drunk driving? See, this I don't agree with. I don't think victims need to be blamed. I think there are two separate situations. You may have an alcohol problem. You may be a victim of alcoholism. You're not a victim of drunk driving. I think that's where we're going to differ in this conversation. You're not a victim of drunk driving if you're the drunk driver. You may be a victim of substance abuse. You may be a victim of whatever else, but you're not a victim in the drunk driving incident. No, you're the perpetuator. What goals and dreams will you never chase? Exactly. That's what I want people to realize, is that if you've wanted to travel, but you're scared to not because you don't want to. I know a lot of older people who don't take the vacation, who won't take the time off work, who won't put themselves first, but have the discipline to get up and go to work every day. And I just say to people, if you had that same discipline for your own life, where would you be? What could you accomplish? I'm assuming corporations will be here when you leave and come back. What explain what you mean by me, Clever Girl Reading. Just that makes me so afraid that I believe I was probably 20, middle 20s when I took my mother on an airplane. She had never been on a plane before. She was in her 50s. And I don't honestly, in our community, that's not rare. I mean, that's not rare. It's so many of us whose parents and grandparents have never flown. So many of us who have parents and grandparents who have never vacationed because they didn't think, I retired early and don't know what I want to do with the rest of my life yet. You're blessed to have been able to retire early and to have a supportive partner who can help you with figuring that part of your life out if you want help figuring it out. But there are so many avenues and so many things that we can do that I don't think people should continue to be tied down to, I have a 9 to 5 that pays me just enough to get by to the next paycheck, or maybe two. I can skip that paycheck and put it totally in savings and then use the next one. I think that so many of us have just been on this constant hamster wheel because it is a generational curse. That is a part of the generational curses. Now, I also want to see this for my mom's entire, like her siblings. I would love for them all to take the time to pamper themselves in whatever way that looks like for people. And can see that I look at it as generational growth. My kids are having experiences like kids that I had to wait to be an adult, and my parents never did, what my grandparents never dreamed of. Oh, yeah. It's so true. It's so true how many of us can relate to seeing women work themselves to the bone, and men don't even think. We have to also have a conversation. Maybe men could have a conversation with themselves about how they don't even think they deserve it. The behavior that I see from our community is one of, I don't like myself enough to think that I deserve this. I don't like myself enough to think that I'm even worth the hard work. And I'm not saying I'm above that. I'm saying I probably experienced that my own self. I experienced that when, I don't get up, I get up and go to work, but do I get up and draft out my videos? Do I get up and prepare scripts for my videos? Do I get up and do my hair and makeup so I can go live and look nice? Clever Girl Reading says she blames Black men. I think that is a deeper conversation for sure about why weren't our families able to vacation? Why weren't we able to have the money to, start businesses that could allow us leisure time? We went on the vacations when I was younger because my parents owned a cleaning business. I went to private school. I got to see my mom be a housewife the whole time I was in high school. I think that's amazing. I see a lot of, like, my mother's mother was able to not work until her husband passed, but in that generation, they had a bunch of kids. So it wasn't like it was leisurely. It wasn't like that generation of women were having, fun and able to go get their nails done or whatever the equivalent would have been. Go to have tea with their girlfriends or go to the mall and Macy's and then have Avon parties. That wasn't our community as a whole. Our community as a whole was, okay, I'm home all day, but I'm really trying to pick up from when these kids left, and I'm trying to get dinner ready, and I'm trying to clean up the house, and I need to do something before he gets home and he's not happy. I just saw, yeah, my grandmother had 21 kids, stayed barefoot and pregnant. My mother's mother had 7 or 8 children. 7 or 8 children. That was not, you didn't even have time to think of a dream for yourself. So I'm happy that I'm able to actually, like, I take my daughter to concerts. I take her, we go and do, things that most people would be like, oh, that's a waste of money. I've taken her out to vacation. And it's like, we have to do the things that we weren't shown because we'll always just continually feed the machine. Of course, the machine being this American dream, and the dream is not working for us. The dream is only working for a certain amount and number of people. And honestly, I concern myself with the Black community because I am in the Black community, but it's the American machine is being fed by all of us. The American machine is being fed by all of us, not just the Black community. I live in a suburban, middle-class, white area, and they aren't living a luxury. I have an Indian married couple across the street. They seem to work a lot. That garage opens every single day. Every morning that garage opens, they go to work, come back. So I'm not saying the Black community is, of course we've been set back Of course, I'm not negating that, but I'm saying nobody is getting the better end of the deal except for the wealthy, except for the truly wealthy people. We are all feeding this machine, and I just don't want any of us to continue to die without at least giving your goals, your passions, your dream a chance to at least say, okay, I tried that 4 times, it didn't work, let me go back to the 9 to 5. The 9 to 5 is always going to be there. That 9 to 5 will forever be there. My grandma had a total of 8 kids. However, 2 died from SIDS. She was spoiled and well loved by my grandfather. He was the only one that worked. That is, yeah, a lot of us have this story. A lot of us have this story. We need to learn how to do what Latinos, Asians, Indians have learned how to thrive and create businesses and communities for themselves. I agree with the independence, but I also see that I don't want to be blind to the fact that if you're so good at one thing, I don't know. I have mixed feelings about praising communities that come here and don't do it back home. I definitely have a problem praising the Indian community when I've seen the caste system and how they treat people that look like them but have different skin tones. I don't think the Indian community is doing anything right, honestly. Honestly. I don't think the Indian community is doing anything right other than advancing their own people in tech. Those people work their fingers to the bone. I live across the street from 2 of them, and they both work at Deloitte. And Deloitte is about an hour and 15 minutes from me. I mean, Deloitte is a dream job for most people, for in tech especially, but I don't see them living a life that I would love. Like, they get up and go to work, they leave about 5:30 every morning, both cars pull out. Multiple businesses in my community, as well as hiring within the community. Who does that? You saying other communities do this? Oh, the Asians. Yeah, the Asians, the Latinos. Yes. But I also see that that's not, I think we're still missing each other, like ships passing in the night about what we're talking about. Right. But I think Clever Girl Reading and Conceited, I absolutely understand your points. My point is, that's not, I want people to understand that's not the goal. Right. So I started off the conversation with, I've had my dream cars, I've dated successful men, I've seen the world, I've done this, I've done that. What I'm saying is the money, like you speak of the salary, that's not the goal. I think so many of us died still chasing the money. Me and Conceited, we're talking about this a little earlier in the video. The hustle is an illusion. The grind is literally, the grind isn't the goal, right? So I don't see these people living lives that I envy. I don't see these people are 70, 80 retiring in farms. You know what I mean? So I don't see anybody. That's why I'm saying everybody's feeding the machine. Nobody is doing something that looks like what I want for Black women. I do that, LA. Give me a little credit. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't see anybody doing what I think the goal should be for Black women, which is like rest and some luxury and some life that looks like you have a passion, not a hustle. I want you to live a life that looks like you have a passion. Clever Girl, I have my hands in different businesses. My sister, mom, cousins, even my ex-wife, we're all teenager. We all have our teenager kids helping and learning as well. I'm specifically talking about creating Black communities that provide safety, security, resources, and protections for us. We wouldn't have to grind as hard if we had these things. Oh, I agree 100%. I'm sorry. Like I said, we might be just ships passing in the night and missing each other. What's that stuff on IG? Nothing but luxury over there. For who? For who? Conceited? That's awesome, Conceited. I agree. Conceited is doing the thing. I love that. I love that. And I think that conceited, as you said, what happens to those thriving class? Well, true. We don't get the luxury of living that. But like you said, conceited, when you said you have your teenage children involved in the family business, I think that's so important because it builds this idea in them that you don't have to go work for these corporations. If you put that dedication into what you saw your mom and dad or your grandparents do at these corporations, and how many of us have had grandparents that work for the government, work for the post office? Like those are the dream jobs, working for Ford, working for GM. I'm from the Midwest, from Cleveland to Chicago, and that was the job. That was the job. It was GM. It was Daimler Chrysler, which I think is GM. It was Chrysler, GM, Ford, the government, and the post office. Because everybody worked at the federal building. Everybody worked at the post office. Everybody worked for one of the car manufacturers. And if you put that same dedication into your own life, then you can have a life. And that's what you're exemplifying to your kids. And that's what I tell my daughter all the time. I'm like, look at this girl. She's traveling all around the world. She's built her community up. She does YouTube videos. I think that's amazing. She has a luxury that isn't related to money. She has a luxury of freedom from the cog, freedom from the machine, right? And that's what I'm trying to instill in Black women, because it's not too late to get off of that hamster wheel. That is the conversation I'm specifically having today, is that I want you to live a life that doesn't include money, that doesn't have to be quite Instagrammable, like you said. Your life doesn't have to be an Instagram reel or aesthetically pleasing, right? I want Black women to find a passion. I'm really passionate about building money, building credit, using credit, leveraging debt. Oh, thank you. Can y'all hit the like button? See, that's why I love y'all. Listen, I do a community. It is 5 of us, but we rolling and rocking. It's 5 of us. Hit that like button, y'all. Thank you, Clever Girl Reading. But I think it's so important that we give children, yes. We're in a society where people want this look. And I'm like, but what about your soul? Is your soul happy? Have you figured out your passion? I love that Clever Girl Reading is retired, and she says, yeah, I'm working on what my passion is. I might dilly-dally, I might dibble and dab, I might go to the spa, I might be here and there. I'm going to find my passion, but I don't have to be in that machine to do it. And I love that for you. And our viewer says, young moolah baby. Thank you. Oh, thank you. I'm so excited. Thank you. Thank you, Conceited 2.0. And y'all are so sweet. I love this channel. And I'm going to keep building it up. We're going to get some more family in here. But I'm really excited that we get to have these discussions in a very, very fruitful way. And we support each other. I'm really thankful that I was able to get on live with y'all. I do have some other videos popping up because I really want to get into this AI thing and how you can automate your business. Let me tell y'all something before I go. I'm glad we had this conversation. So I want y'all to leave with, help people that you know and that you love find their passion, help people get off of the hamster wheel, and help people develop a love for themselves like they do for their jobs. If you love yourself the way you love your job, you can find the same success that you find in that paycheck, and likely more money. More money. If you dedicated that 9 hours to you and what you want to do, how fruitful would your life be? How fruitful would your life be? So the other thing that I want to talk about really quick is that if you have a business, and I was just talking to ChatGPT today, and I'm a really, really, really big advocate of using ChatGPT, the human intention, putting the human intention into ChatGPT and getting the machine learned execution. What I did today is I asked ChatGPT the most simplest question that I haven't asked it ever before. And I said, tell me who to pitch my business to scale it. And that was such a simple question. Tell ChatGPT, like, conceded you have a business, you have things that you work on. I'm sorry, I don't know why the camera did that. Clever Girl Reading. You haven't spoken about a business here, but I know that you're looking for your passion. I would let ChatGPT learn you a little bit. Thank you. I thought that was a great question too, because it was so simple. And it gave me some brilliant ideas that I had never even thought about, because I'm pitching my business and my brand to individuals. I do debt relief, I do credit repair, I do bankruptcy filings, and I pitch my business to individuals. But I thought to myself, what am I missing? There's something I'm missing. And I just said, who should I pitch my business to? And the way this thing opened up my own mind, amazing. I do credit repair, I do bankruptcy filing, I do debt relief, and I do free consultations. So you can definitely visit me. It's Sloan Credit. I'll put it in the Sloan Credit on all platforms. And Sloan Credit on all platforms. Thank you so much. Yes, I do repair credit. I can do it really, really fast. I do bankruptcy filings really fast. So if you or anybody knows anybody that is like desperate, like, oh, my stuff is about to be cut off, I encourage people to stop being embarrassed of the financial strains that they are experiencing in their lives right now, because I believe that most of us are still adjusting or maybe struggling with the change in the economy, what we thought would happen, what is happening. People are paranoid. Al in for the check. Hey, tapping in from Tampa, Florida. Good evening. What's up? What's up? Thank you so much for being here. We're just wrapping up today's video, but I was just encouraging my family here to Clever Girl Reading says, hey, all in for the check. What's up? But I encourage people to help people that they love find their passion. I have a good friend who was going through a layoff. And what I really wanted for her, and you can only encourage people, you can't force them, right? So I was encouraging her. I was like, you know what? There are so many people with the government layoffs that probably are looking for community. Why not start a YouTube channel, really be vulnerable based on that? And I know that probably would take a lot. But if you can start a YouTube channel, build a community based on your vulnerabilities that you can monetize. I know maybe it's not the time to do it, but maybe think about doing it. Because I think there has to be a lot of action when you're in the thick of it. When you're in the thick of it, you have to act. So, yeah, teach people around you to rest. Teach people. Our community doesn't know how to do that. We don't know how to do that. We're always on go mode, always grinding, always looking for a hustle, always looking to work, always trying to Uber after you get off work, always trying to sell a plate. Teach people to rest, teach people to truly find their passion. And then I wanted to talk about this AI. I think ChatGPT, if you have a business, say, who can I pitch my business to? And then my next episode, I'm going to show you how to scrub the internet for emails that are easily accessible. So if I say I'm going to pitch my business to real estate agents, I'll Google real estate agents near me. I'll copy what Google gives me in the contact information. I'll copy it, paste it into ChatGPT, and I'll say, ChatGPT, with this information, build me a spreadsheet that has a column for name, phone number, email, and address. It'll build me an Excel spreadsheet. I'll take those emails from that spreadsheet and the first names from that spreadsheet, I'll take it to an app like Canva, and I'll build a mass email, and I'll be able to email 70, 100 real estate agents. Hey, if you have a new customer whose credit is challenged, send them to me. You could do that with any business. Thank you so much. Clever Girl Reading. I'm sorry, I missed that last time. YouTube channels are a good way to get wealth if you can't get an audience. Don't know why it's so hard to get people to hit the like button. It's free. Guys, hit the like button. Thank you, Clever Girl Reading. If you're here, there should be at least 5 likes. We got comments rolling. Thank you for liking. If you have already hit the like button, be for sure to hit it. And I'm sorry I don't get used to saying that, but free and easy. Plus, we need to support Decent Black channels. How else is she going to get monetized? Yes, that is my goal. Monetization is my goal. I've been doing a lot of money making on TikTok, but I would like to be here because I feel like this is just a more intimate, genuine reflection of who I am. And I could truly build the community I want to build. But we're going to work on business. We're going to work on luxury. We're going to work on freedom. We're going to work on freedom. Most of us need freedom. So I appreciate you all for being here. All in for the check. Be sure to subscribe. Viewer, if you're still here, be sure to subscribe. I will be back tomorrow, same time, 4. I'm working on 4 o'clock, y'all, because by the time I get off, get my hair together, do a little makeup, put on a top and some shorts, we'll be here at 4 or 5. But just keep your turn your notifications on. I will be back. Be sure to subscribe. Thank you all for being here. Clever Girl Reading, All In for the Check, Viewer, Mackie, Conceited. You're my favorite people. You're my favorite people on the internet. Thank you all so much. Bye.